The war was won, but the real battle had just begun. In the halls of power, former allies became fierce rivals, and the fate of the young republic hung by a thread. Today we're diving into a fascinating period of American history, the Federalist Era. Buckle up, because we're about to take a wild ride through the early days of our nation. It's filled with larger-than-life characters and world-changing events. Let's start with the man, the myth, the legend, George Washington. Born in 1732 in Virginia, Washington grew up on a plantation and, believe it or not, never actually went to school. But don't let that fool you. This guy was sharp as a tack. By 16, he was already working as a land surveyor, mapping out the wild frontier of Western Virginia. Now, you might think young George had it easy, but life threw him some curveballs. His father died when he was just 11, forcing him to step up as the family leader. Talk about growing up fast. Then, tragedy struck again when his half-brother Lawrence passed away. But with every challenge, Washington grew stronger and more determined. At 20, Washington joined the British military, eager to make a name for himself. And boy did he ever. His first mission was to deliver crucial information between British and French forces. Sounds simple, right? Well, our boy George got a little too cocky and ended up accidentally starting a global conflict known as the 7 Years' War. Oops. A small skirmish in the Ohio Valley spiraled into a fight that spread across continents. But here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of throwing in the towel, Washington used this epic fail as a learning opportunity. He stepped back, observed seasoned military leaders, and honed his skills. And when the chips were down during a later battle, guess who stepped up to save the day? Our man George. Fast forward a bit, and Washington's military fame combined with his growing wealth made him a political powerhouse. He was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses in 1758, where he started to realize that British policies were seriously messing with the colonies. Before long, he was leading the charge against colonial rule. Now picture this. The Continental Congress is in session. Tensions are high, and in walks Washington, decked out in his military uniform. Talk about making an entrance. It's no wonder they chose him as commander-in-chief. But here's the kicker. Washington wasn't actually a master strategist. In fact, he lost battle after battle against the British. So how did he win the war? 2 words: guerrilla tactics. Washington's secret weapon was his ability to rally the troops and strike when the enemy least expected it. Remember the Battle of Trenton? While those Hessian mercenaries were nursing their Christmas hangovers, Washington and his men swooped in for a surprise attack. Now that's what I call a holiday party crasher. After the British finally threw in the towel in 1781, Washington was ready to kick back and enjoy retirement at Mount Vernon. But the country had other plans. See, the Continental Congress was a hot mess without a central leader, and everyone knew there was only one man for the job. So, reluctantly, Washington became our first president. And let me tell you, this guy set the bar high. Most of the presidential traditions we have today, yeah, those came from Washington. It was like the ultimate trendsetter of American politics. Now, here's where things get really juicy. Yes, even back then, we had political parties duking it out. On one side, we had the Federalists, led by the ambitious Alexander Hamilton. These guys were all about a strong central government, loose interpretation of the Constitution, and cozying up to Britain. On the other side, we had the Democratic Republicans, led by Thomas Jefferson, who, well, pretty much opposed everything the Federalists stood for. Washington, being the diplomatic guy he was, tried to stay neutral. But let's be real, he was totally Team Federalist. And why not? These guys had a long-term vision for the country, focusing on building wealth and keeping democracy alive for generations to come. But not everyone was on board with Washington's policies. The media, which was heavily pro-democratic Republican, started throwing some serious shade. It called Washington a dictator, a traitor, even a British puppet. Can you imagine? The stress got so bad that Washington decided 2 terms were enough, thank you very much. Now let's talk about John Adams, Washington's VP and the next Federalist president. This guy had some big shoes to fill, and he did his best to continue Washington's work. But here's where things get interesting. Adams had to deal with rising tensions with France, and he had a tough choice to make. go to war and probably secure re-election, or seek peace and risk losing power. In a move that would make Washington proud, Adams chose peace over politics. He negotiated with Napoleon and avoided a potentially disastrous war. But this decision would come back to haunt him, as it paved the way for a major shift in American politics. And that, my friends, is where we'll leave our story for today. The Federalist Era was a time of big personalities, tough decisions, and the laying of foundations that would shape our nation for centuries to come. It's a reminder that even in the early days of our country, politics was a wild and unpredictable game. So the next time you're feeling frustrated with modern politics, just remember, it's been a messy business right from the start. But hey, that's what makes it so darn interesting, right? Please make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the History View channel for more videos just like this one, share it with anyone who you think would enjoy it. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep making history.